Hello, everyone. Welcome to a little bit of woo. Today, I thought I would give some tips on how to develop your own intuition. I know I had another recording up, and it's still up. It's still up on how to do tarot cards, so I won't get into that. But this time, I wanted to talk about some general tips and tools that you can use to develop your own intuition, which I think is a big thing for everyone right now. We all need to be able to learn to listen to ourselves and our own wisdom. So the first tip is something you've probably already heard before. You need to go to some kind of therapy. And there's a really good reason for this. You want to be able to determine what's your stuff and what's somebody else's stuff. So I'll give you an example, something that doesn't actually show up very often in readings. But client comes in and they want to know about weight loss. Why can't they lose any weight? And let's just say you've been to the doctor for this issue yourself, and the doctor said you need to be on XYZ diet. Let's just say it was keto. I'm not advocating for that particular diet, by the way. And the client comes in and you're like, oh, I know how to handle this. Tell them to go on this keto diet. When the reality is, when you tune into them, you determine, you kind of feel like maybe that's not the right thing for them personally. That's one of the things that therapy can help, is determining which issue is yours and which is somebody else's. Now, that doesn't mean that you won't get information on what's going on for somebody else at some point during the day. A lot of times our spirit guides will give us information while we're at line at the Starbucks. Maybe they know later on one of your buddies is going to come to you with a problem. So the person ahead of you in line at the Starbucks is talking about it and they've got the answer. So it's already in your head. That happens all the time. But I think some kind of therapy, I personally used hypnotherapy. I've also done some talk it out therapy. I've given a lot of money to therapists over the years. But those kinds of things are really helpful for you to clear your vessel, for you to determine what is your issues and what belongs to someone else, because that happens a lot. You always bring yourself to any kind of session, even if it's just chatting with a girlfriend. You're always going to bring yourself there, and it's hard to determine what is yours and what is somebody else's, especially when you're tuning into their energy. So the next bit of advice you've heard, and I disagree with it, but I'm just going to tell you, you've probably heard that you need to eat healthier in order to do better readings. I can tell you that I worked at Awakenings Bookstore in Orange County, California, Laguna Hills, among some of the most gifted psychics I've ever met. And I saw them eat lunch, and I saw a lot of hamburgers and French fries and smoking cigarettes. So I can tell you, take that one with a grain of salt, because those same people delivered amazing readings just right after. Personally, I found that if I eat a lot of wheat, my brain gets a little cloudy. I don't mean gluten. I mean just plain wheat of any kind, gluten or not. So I don't eat a lot of that before several days before I'm going to be doing readings. It's not part of my diet. I would say with healthy eating, observe yourself. What clouds your brain? What makes you less able to be in the moment and be clear about how you feel? Pay attention to that. At the end of the day, it really is about what messes with your mind and makes you feel less engaged. The next one I'm talking about is your environment. Your environment is really, really important. As my mentor, Michelle Mache, would say, you want to make sure that you've got surrounded by positive triggers, things that you look at and it just makes you happy. I got a picture of somebody's cat on my, this isn't even my cat. I got a picture of a cat on my desk. So when I'm doing readings, sometimes I look down, I'm like, oh, this is so cute. You've got to surround yourself with things that uplift your vibrational frequency. You have to make your space beautiful. I also like crystals. I got a lot of crystals in my house. They emit a vibrational frequency that I like. But if crystals aren't your thing, figure out what your thing is and surround your space with them. This is why a lot of people will say, go for walks in nature, because the vibrational frequency of the trees, of the landscaping can make you feel happier. And when you're happier, when you're more uplifted, you are going to be getting more intuitive information, because you're going to be closer to the vibrational frequency of spirit. Practice groups. That's the next tip. Practice groups of some kind. Now, having said that, there's a warning here. There's a lot of practice groups that are kind of cults. Pay attention to that. I did a whole video on that issue. I put it, actually, maybe I'll attach that one to this one so you can see it. But you want to watch for that behavior. But practice groups are really helpful. I think that was the key for me, is being in a safe space where you can practice, where you can feel comfortable if you give a reading and you're just plain wrong, you're just really off, because you need to be able to feel how giving wrong information feels different from giving right information. And if you can take a moment in a safe space when somebody has just said, no, my soulmate is not a guy, my soulmate is going to be a woman. So when you're seeing this person, it's definitely not a dude. You want to be able to take a moment to feel, okay, how was it different? How was does yes feel like and what does no feel like? And practice is a really good tool for that. Having said that, it's hard to find those. So sometimes meetup groups, there's some of those online. I also found sometimes the spiritualist churches, if there's one of those around you, have like classes that you can take and kind of practice groups. Those can be safe spaces to check it out. Classes in general can be really, really helpful. James Van Praagh, I think, has a good one. There's other ones that you can look at, but you want to look for ones that don't have a culty vibe to them, because I hate to say this, in the metaphysical community, there's a lot of that. And, my best experience with teaching and classes was that these are small classes in small spaces, and with usually, a teacher who doesn't expect to be called guru or master. That would just be my 2 cents on that one. So the other thing I want to talk about is tools. Now, I did a video on tarot cards. I'm not going to get into that. I like guided meditations as a tool to help you access your intuition. I'm going to put a link in the description to a blog post with bunch of ones that I recommend. I don't know these people personally, so this is definitely not a sponsored post. I like Tom Kenyon, Oren and Dobbin. They wrote a great book called Opening to Channel. They've got like a whole website full of these cool meditations that you can buy for almost nothing that are very helpful for help you develop your intuition by tuning within. I recommend those kinds of things, and none of them are terribly expensive. It's just fun. The last thing I want to say, actually, this isn't the last thing I want to say about the stock market. Now, so some of you are thinking, well, geez, Jill, how is this going to help me pick stocks? It's not. It's really not. And there's a really good reason for that. Stock market and investments are difficult because when you're tuning into intuitive information, you're tuning into a spirit where time is not an issue. Now, me telling you that the stock market is going to go up and down doesn't help you any if you don't know when. When is the most important part with a stock investment. You can intuitively tune into things like houses. Should I purchase this house? What's the feeling of the house? That's something that you can do. And will this be a good investment? Perhaps you can get information on that. But I would just say, or just caution you, that investments like the stock market are difficult because you're just not going to get information on timing very easily. And timing is really kind of the most important thing with this. And the last thing I'm going to say, and this really is the last thing, is that at the end of the day, a reading is all about you. Intuition is all about you. You have to be able to learn to access information that you already have deep inside of you. That's why I'm saying working on yourself, working with others a bit, but working on yourself, making your environment beautiful, making your physical health good, whatever that means for you. For some people, it means healthy eating. For some people, it's just exercise. Some people, it's other modalities. So I would just say what makes you feel better, feel good about yourself, and more in tune to the subtle energy, the little bits of wisdom that comes up. And also having practice time with other people where you can kind of get a sense of what's yes and what's no, and what feels accurate and what doesn't feel accurate can be very helpful. So hope this was helpful for you. If you have questions, go ahead and put them in the comments. I'm going to be doing more of these little, like, how do you develop your intuition videos. And I also am going to have some guests come back and talk about that too. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments section. And I hope this was helpful, and we'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye. Bye-bye.